Following on from our previous video where we generated that detailed research report, we're now going to set up the call. And first things first, we need to set up the agenda for the call. Right at the bottom of the research, there's your next step. Now it's time to give Discover a little bit more context regarding the specifics of the project that the client has reached out for. And this can be as little as the high-level inquiry that they sent you. So hint, just paste in the body copy of their email and give a little bit more info regarding the scope, and then you're good to go. You'll see Discover has laid this out against the kind of standard shape a call like this might take, but you've got plenty of opportunity here to tweak what has been put together. And of course, you can review the talking points and suggest questions. And obviously, it's best to do that before you go into your call. But this is the secret sauce because it's all based on the deep research that has been conducted on your prospective client. And a lot of this is in their own words because it's pulled from their own public links, which means during the call, you're speaking to them in their language from day one. You're on the same page. You've got talking points for sections like goals, budgets, timelines, scope, and any technical needs, so you're never kind of just staring at a blank page thinking about what to ask next. Everything is editable, so click anything here, put that into your own words so you're not going to trip yourself up on the actual call. And you can also add your own if you've got any more questions that the deep research tool and the agenda hasn't picked up. And you can remove any ones that you don't think are necessary. And now you're ready for the call. So Discover gets you ready for the call with your client, but it doesn't just leave you hanging. In meeting host mode, Discover sits alongside you, prompting you to ask the right questions and hit the talking points that you've mapped out in the agenda. With your client's consent, it listens in on the call to make sure everything you plan actually gets covered, and it records it all for later on. There's a couple of steps that you need to take when setting it up. Basically just the standard audio sharing settings, but make sure you give yourself a couple of minutes prior to the call to make sure it's all working so that you don't miss any of that crucial information when you're on the call. You can also hand this process off to your mobile device. It doesn't have to happen just on your desktop. Scan the QR code to open it up on your mobile. This is especially handy if you're having an in-person meeting and you might want to have this functionality on your phone just happening in the background. The agenda runs a scroll deck of focus cards. Your current talking point is front and center, so you're not searching for it on the page while you're talking. And you can step through it with the nav arrows, and the indicator up top kind of shows you where you are in the process. A live transcript runs in real time, and the health status bar kind of just confirms visually that everything is working, so you don't have to be worried about that while you're talking to your client. As the conversation surfaces things worth digging into that maybe weren't on the actual agenda, Discover flags these and adds kind of follow-up questions automatically so that you can jump into those where you see fit. And just to be clear, your client doesn't see any of this. As far as they're concerned, they're on a normal video call with you and they're just having a conversation. Of course, you let them know earlier that you're recording everything to reference back later on. When the call wraps up, simply stop the recording and then you can move on to the post-call summary. More on that in the next video.